Now, today, Kenya marks Mazingira Day, as you've seen in previous stories, and this is a day dedicated to raising awareness and taking action to protect our environment for future generations. And across the country, communities came together to plant trees, clean up public spaces, and spark crucial conversations around climate change and sustainability. And in studio with us tonight is Cabinet Secretary for Environment, Honorable Deborah Barasa. Good evening.
Good evening, and thank you for having me.
Thanks for being with us, and happy Mazingira Day.
Happy Mazingira Day to you.
Yeah, so let's look at the current numbers in terms of what we're looking at, our green cover, Kenya's tree cover, and how it compares to national targets.
Yes, so the target that has been set by His Excellency the President is 15 billion trees in 10 years. Currently, we are at, it was 1.06. Today, we have over 1 million trees that have been planted, fruit trees, and we are counting even as the days go by. But you'll take note that in the previous regime, we only planted around 38 million trees in 5 years. So 1 billion really surpasses the target that was set previously. But based on His Excellency's target, His Excellency the President, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, we are not yet meeting the target. And that's why we had to sit down and re-strategize. We had enough seed production, but we had to look at seedling production. And we are happy that His Excellency the President is supporting the ministry to ensure that we have more than 2 billion seedlings. And now that will come to the community. We need to ensure that the community is supporting us, is owning this rally of being able to plant 15 billion.
Right. So just going back to that story again, and you've alluded to that as well, that the president, says that Kenyans will be given 2 billion seedlings every year to support this very ambitious plan. We say it's ambitious because some may actually say it's unrealistic based on the fact that the questions around the funding model, for instance, how much has been allocated and from where, particularly against the backdrop of the fact that there's been opposed to climate change financing by the US and other wealthy nations.
Yes. And really, Lillian, we need to be self-sufficient. We need to be self-reliant as a country. And what the ministry looked into is a framework that looks at the economy component and the implementation of this framework. We saw that we needed 1.29 trillion for the next 10 years to have this. But in our strategy, we have a whole of government approach, engaging all ministries, departments and agencies, whole of society. We need the community to be involved in planting, tree planting. We also need partners, we need private sector. They have their, CSRs, and we want them to, again, focus on ecosystem restoration. We again have the county governments, they have FLOCA resources. We have our MPs, they have CDF. So if they could allocate resources on this, and that is what the instruction that has been given by His Excellency the President, we believe that we can be able to achieve this. Mark you that there'll be high economic, there'll be a vibrant economy when we have this. We're going to have good climate actions, and this will cause a climate resilience, and then environmental restoration. And we talk about economy, we mean improved livelihood, we mean green jobs, we mean that all Kenyans can be able to, again, enjoy the environment. And the outcome would be over 75 trillion Kenya shillings coming into our economy through this system.
Right. Away from the financing, just taking you back to the launch of this very ambitious tree planting project, 15 billion trees target in the next 10 years. And yet about shortly after the president made this announcement, he also lifted the ban on logging. Doesn't this move contradict Kenya's climate change and environmental conservation agenda? Where are we on the logging ban?
Yes, so now there's harvesting. You see, what was happening is the trees would grow and then they would rot and fall away. Yet they have a value. And once we're able to calculate, we are able to get over 75 trillion Kenya shillings if we leverage on the forests. So harvesting is not logging. When they are mature, what do? we can harvest them, and then we restore the ecosystem to ensure that there is sustainability. And that's why, as a ministry, we went in and looked at various strategies to incentivize Kenyans to look at how we can grow economy using forests. So we've come up with multiple strategies. By the time I came into the ministry, we have the bamboo strategy. We are launching the prosopis one. We have the commercial one, we have RED Plus, which looks at carbon markets, among other strategies, and agroforestry, again, fruit trees, and how we can use a forest for agriculture. So all these are value addition. And so we're talking about how do we leverage this? How do we improve, again, ecotourism? How do we look at our urban forests and see how we can get resources from this so that our forests are also benefiting Kenyans.
Right. Talking about sustainability, who's responsible for follow-up? It's not enough to plant, we're talking about seedlings and Kenyans being provided with the seedlings, but it's not enough to plant this. What happens with the follow-up? How do you plan to track the progress, not just in terms of seedlings planted, but actual data and actual survival, tree survival and forest recovery?
Absolutely. It's important that we monitor and we verify and we ensure sustainability. We are tracking that. Currently, we have over 80% of the trees that we have planted so far surviving. How do we do that? We have our Jazamiti app that is able to tell us how many have been planted. We have also the sensor technology, although that one would pick up later on from 3 to 5 years, where we are able to map out. Because when we say 15 billion trees, we mean that more than 10 million hectares of land being restored. So the sensor is able to pick up, and we're able to match this. We even have reports from MDAs, we have reports from partners. So we're able to match all this up and see if we are really achieving this.
Right. With rapid urbanization, Madam CS, and just looking at state-sanctioned development as well, looking like it's taking priority over conservation, looking at green spaces being very rare across the country, and particularly even here in Nairobi, and looking at other big cities as well. We're seeing buildings on riparian land, we're seeing wetlands being drained, and again, forests being cleared, for the setting up of buildings, apartments, skyscrapers, in terms of protection in the face of these very powerful development interests. What is your ministry doing to ensure that there is a sort of leeway in terms of giving priority over conservation, even as urbanization remains a priority?
Yes, so at ministerial level, we have policies, we have strategies, we have regulations, we have legal frameworks. We have the Forest Conservation Management Act, we have regulations like the environmental impact assessment, the audit, again, that we conduct. We also have public participation before this, again, is involved, so that we engage the public more. And we, as a ministry, are looking at how we can really strengthen the urban forests so that they can become self-sufficient in terms of getting resources, how we can build them up and how we can conserve them. And that is why we have come up with multiple strategies looking into ecotourism, again looking at urban forests. We have, again, the National Lands Ecosystem Restoration Strategy, which again looks at urban forests. We are working closely with various ministries. We are acknowledging the work that is done in urbanization, but we are saying that we need to have our cities green. So greening cities, greening the urban space is really critical for us. And that is why even when we look at the 15 billion tree strategy, we are engaging various ministries. Like for the transport, we are telling them, also plant trees along the highways. Yeah, again, the schools, among others.
Yeah, right. And let's move away from that to illegal waste dumping. And there's a story that was filed by one of our reporters around, for instance, the Dandora dump site. We're just looking at this being a serious concern across various towns in the country, and of course, posing serious environmental and health risks. What immediate actions are being taken when you hear a river like Nairobi River is being choked by waste, hazardous waste? It truly breaks the hearts of environmental conservationists, and therefore, in terms of this being a serious concern, what's the plan?
Yes. So the president launched the Nairobi River Conservation, and there's a commission that looks into it. And definitely it was multi-sectoral, it was a multifaceted approach. Because when you look at the Nairobi River, you see the sewer, sewer lines pouring into the river, you see waste being poured into the river, and so on, the degradation of the land, and then we have the riparian land being, homes being encroached within that area, among others. So it was really quite a tall order to get that space in order and ensure that we are restoring the ecosystem. But we are really amazed. It's really transformative. It's phenomenal when you look at it. And it's a game changer, not only for Kenya, but for Africa and for the world, seeing how we can look into our urban rivers and ensure that we are conserving and ensure that they are clean, healthy, and safe. And so we are working on the sewer lines, as you had heard, and other things to ensure that we are keeping the river clean, but also the Dandora waste. That is a legacy waste, should I say that? It has been there forever. And so we are looking at how we, first of all, moving forward, we need a material recovery facility. We have been able to identify some of this. We have shared with the county government to see how they can utilize this to ensure that there's recycling. So it begins from the waste pickers, capacitating them, ensuring that they have cooperatives. They're able to pick the waste and bring it to the material recovery facilities, being able to segregate, and the organic waste actually can be used as fertilizers, among other things, while the recyclable or the non-biodegradable waste, again, can be recycled into the ecosystem to ensure that it is not being dumped and eroding or polluting the environment. So those discussions are ongoing, and implementation is on the ground. We have one of the centers of excellence in Kajiado. We are engaging multiple partners, and many of the county governments are on board to have the material recovery facilities, and I believe that also Dandora will join in. Yes.
Right. All the best as you proceed in your ministry. Environment CS Deborah Barasa with us in studio, this being Mazingira Day, and of course looking at a citizen-centric approach towards making the country even greener. We're taking a break. We're back with more in just a bit. Sensitizing the masses, IEBC in awareness creation run in Bobasi. Details after the break.
Make your home a signal.